Welcome to section 3.2, solving inequalities using addition or subtraction. Please keep in mind that the video you're about to see follows along with pages 4 and 5 of your chapter 3 note packet. So you should be taking notes in your note packet as you watch the video. Start on page 4. Similar to when we were solving equations, these are one-step inequalities. We actually go about solving them in the same way. We want to get the variable by itself, but on the left-hand side. So if you look at our very first example here, x minus 15 is greater than negative 12. We're going to add 15 to both sides. The 15s cancel, and we're going to have x is greater than 3. The next thing we need to do is go ahead and graph this. This is just greater than, so we're going to use an open circle at 3, and notice the inequality points to the right. Greater than 3 means we're going to have an arrow drawn to the right hand side. In our next example, we've got n minus 5 is less than negative 3. And just like we would when we were solving equations, we're going to add 5 to both sides. The minus 5 and plus 5 cancel, and we bring down n is less than negative 3 plus 5 gives us 2. The next thing we need to do is graph this. We have n is less than 2, so again we're going to have an open circle, and that is on 2. And this time, because we have n is less than 2, we're going to draw our arrow off to the left-hand side. In our next example, let's go to D. In example D, similar to before, we would add 11 to both sides. The minus 11 and plus 11 are going to cancel, bring down the m, and this is greater than or equal to negative 2 plus 11 is 9. And we need to go ahead and graph this. So when we look at our inequality, we have m is greater than or equal to 9. Since it's greater than or equal to, we're going to fill a filled-in circle on 9, and we're going to put an arrow to the right. Next, let's go to the example C. And what's different here is our variable is on the right-hand side. However, the first thing we want to do is get that variable by itself, so we're going to add 3 to both sides. The minus 3 and the plus 3 will cancel, and we have 13 is less than or equal to x. And remember what we were doing in class yesterday. We were going to switch the order here. So we're going to put the x on the left and the 13 on the right. And do you see how the inequality sign is pointing to the 13? Well, we're going to flip it around so that it still points to the 13. And now we need to graph this. Now we have x is greater than or equal to 13. So at 13, we're going to do a filled-in circle. And we're going to do an arrow off to the right. Now we're going to look at a couple of examples where we are going to be using subtraction. So I have t plus 6 is greater than negative 4. And what I'm going to do this time is subtract 6 from both sides. The 6's cancel. I'm going to bring down a t, and this is greater than negative 4 minus 6 is negative 10. And we're going to go ahead and graph this. All right, we have t is greater than negative 10, so this is going to be an open circle at negative 10 and an arrow to the right. All right, let's take a look at example B. Again, our variable and plus 12 is on the right-hand side. We're going to go ahead and solve this first by subtracting 12 from both sides. The 12 and minus 12 cancel. On the left, we have negative 13 is greater than or equal to y. And what we need to do with this is switch it around so our variable is on the left. So put the y on the left, the negative 13 on the right. And do you see how the inequality is pointing at the y? Flip it around so it is still pointing at the y. And now we'll go ahead and graph this. We have y is less than or equal to negative 13. So let's go ahead and we're going to put a fill-in circle at negative 13, and less than means an arrow off to the left. All right, let's take a look at a story problem. It says the hard drive on your computer has a capacity of 120 gigabytes. You have used 85 gigabytes. You want to save some home videos to your hard drive. What are the possible sizes of the home video collection you can save? We're going to let X equal the possible size of the home video collection. So we're going to take that value X. We don't know what it is, but we know that we've already used 85 gigabytes. So plus 85 gigabytes is how much we can put on our hard drive. Now our hard drive has a capacity of 120 gigabytes, which means less than or equal to 120, because that's the limit. So I have X plus 85 equals 120. To go ahead and solve this, I'm going to subtract 85 from both sides. Cancel the 85s, and I have X is less than or equal to 35. So the possible size of my home video collection is less than or equal to 35, and we'll put the units here, gigabytes.